All right. It says we are now streaming live. I'm Maureen Langan. You are hanging with Langan. And my good friend, my former co-host on radio on Letterman, she's been on Ferguson. I can't keep up. Last Comic Standing, The Apprentice, Cory Kahaney, everybody. Woo!
Woo! Hi.
So I wanted to hop in with you because you escaped New York and you're hiding out where?
I'm hiding out in the Berkshires.
Not a lot of people around, safe, feel good?
I'm at the end of a fairly long drive. So if I want to just walk out of my house and see nobody, I can walk for a good 10 minutes without seeing people.
Do you ever see Dorinda from The Housewives of New York? I know she lives in the Berkshires.
No, you know what? I only watched seasons 1, 2, and 3 of Roni.
Yeah, it gets, okay. I like the Beverly Hills one. Do you watch that?
No. I only watched the New York one because I might run into those people.
Well, I was looking at a menu at a restaurant in Midtown Manhattan, and you know how you're just looking over it and there's little tables next to you outside? It was Dorinda, and she thought I was like stalking her. You could tell by the body language. I didn't even recognize her till I was walking away. But anyway. All right.
Oh, but I did meet Sonia at Canyon Ranch once.
You did?
Yes.
Were you performing there?
I was performing there, and she came to the show, and she had the sunglasses on, and she was in her bathrobe because, you know, everybody comes to the show at Canyon Ranch in their bathrobe because we're all between treatments.
Tell me what Canyon Ranch is for those who don't know.
The Canyon Ranch is a very, very elite spa, and there's two of them, one in Tucson and one in the Berkshires. It's in a town called Lenox. It's very, very elite, very beautiful, but artsy, fartsy, earthy, crunchy.
Well, you know what's interesting? Was she fun? Did you get to gab with her?
Yes, she was very fun. And she said, "Do you think maybe you could look at some of my stuff and make it funnier?" And I whenever that happens, I realize she wants a freebie. So I'm like, yeah, but you know, you need to go through my manager. That's my best line. I know it took me so long to learn it. I learned it from you.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh. What did I do? All right, I gotta get a manager.
You said, I always say, let me think about it, I'll get back to you. I took, let me think about it, I'll get back to you, to let me see what my manager thinks. Even though there's no manager.
There's no manager. You have, so fun. All right, well, this is what I want to ask you. You know, I've known you a long time, and you have really, you've got yourself, how many times have you been on Ferguson?
Well, 7, but the show's been off the air for a long time.
I know, but it's still quite, I know it has, but it's still a freaking big deal, Cory. You were on Letterman. Should we not talk about that? This was a while.
No, it's a big deal. And Colbert was even bigger deal.
Ah, very cool. Very cool. Now tell me, which was your favorite, you know, your favorite experience?
You mean of ever doing TV?
Yeah, why not?
Probably Ferguson, just because I got to the point where I didn't have to do a tape or any kind of audition. I really just sent in word for word what I was going to talk about on the show. That you know, when you get to that kind of a trust level, it just, you feel really good.
I would feel good. Now, what's it like? Because people don't know. I mean, you get booked. I know Letterman was a big deal for you when you first were focusing on that, and you were like laser focused.
Yeah, but laser to the point of I probably turned down a lot of great opportunities. Like, I only wanted Letterman. It was 14 years of I just want to get on Letterman, and then my life can be over. Well, guess what? After Letterman, I had nothing to shoot for.
Really?
Nothing else made me happy after that.
Honest to God. Wow.
I have to be honest with you, nothing really has topped it.
So walk us through the experience about getting Letterman and what it was like to go there that day. And
well, you have to understand, it's particularly hard for a woman to get that show because the people who book Letterman have to filter the material through the lens of what they think Dave will like. And so Dave, you know, probably doesn't think women are funny because he's of that generation. I don't want to piddle around it. And he's very uncomfortable when women talk about certain topics. So no bodily functions, nothing sexual. nothing overtly ethnic. I mean, he's a guy from Indianapolis. I'm sorry, Indiana. He wants middle America. So yeah, the only way I could be me, which is obviously a New York Jew, was to just go very sort of intellectual and I could keep the New York, but it had to be, it had to be very smart.
You couldn't talk about the Jews of New York. It was too ethnic.
Too ethnic. And I couldn't talk about, my weight. I couldn't talk about dating. I couldn't talk about, I had to find stuff that, that sort of a snarky white man would find funny.
The reason we're talking about it, Francois, is because they're like, why are you talking about it? It's not his show anymore. Because it was a really big deal. To get Letterman in the day was a really big friggin' deal. And it was the tops of her, what her goal was. People ask crazy questions.
Yeah, but I'm fine with that. If you want, I'll tell you about Colbert. Was kind of an interesting story.
You tell. Current.
So I had a feeling that there was no way I could do Colbert unless I had a really, really good political joke, or two or three. And I, once I had that really, I had that joke about what's the difference between Democrats and Republicans. That joke. The joke is, just so everyone knows, is my son said, what's the difference between a Democrat and a Republican? And I said, well, a Democrat is like this really nice aunt who promises to take you to Disney World, but then something always comes up and she never comes through. And a Republican is like this grumpy uncle who tells you that there's no money for Disney World, but then you find out that he went without you. And
or he bought Disney World.
So that joke was a favorite of people on Letterman. Of people on Colbert. And I made a perfect 5-minute, 40-second tape with that joke as the closing bit, and one or two other nods at politics. Because the thing is, it has to be down the middle. If you're going to do politics, it can't just be, Trump sucks. What's the point of that? Nobody wants to hear that. And believe me, there's plenty of that on late night right now. So I had a joke that sort of made you think about both sides. And sure enough, 3 days after I sent it, they're like, well, we'd like to give you a date. And I was like, great. And then they're like, we'd like you to do the Republican convention. What does that mean? It means you're going to do it live. Right. So I had to do Colbert live the night of the Republican convention. Yeah. So it was kind of, and it was crazy. I mean, Jon Stewart was there all night long, and oh my God. And my manager at the time, Johnny Lamper, was still still for all intents and purposes, my manager. He was trying to get Jon Stewart to be a client. I don't know how it went.
Yeah, I wonder. Oh, it could work out. It might work out. It could work out. You don't know. That's kind of an inside thing with Cory and I. Years ago, you and I hosted a radio show that you had the idea and you had the connections, and you came to me, and together, because I had worked in broadcasting, because I have broadcast quality equipment. That's a joke. Yes. Well, I did. But she was always like, okay, how's you and your broadcast quality equipment? So we
wait, let me pause. So people, what Maureen used to say is, I can go grab some tape. I'll grab some audio. I have broadcast quality microphones. I have broadcast quality equipment. And so she said it so many times that I just would always ask, is it broadcast quality? And finally she realized you like to say it. That's all.
Well, I like to say it because I thought it was important to bring our best quality forward, since I got us a ton of friggin' dough to do a show for 18 months.
Yes. But all because you had broadcast quality.
Quality equipment. And you had the connections. I had the broadcast quality equipment. And Cory and I did a morning radio show. It was syndicated to 12 markets, but they really were trying to get it into the bigger markets, and they couldn't because people hate women. But I remember you're like, let's do mornings because we'll get fresh fruit. And then at night we can do comedy and we'll have our whole day. I'm like, Cory, doing mornings sucks. You're going to be exhausted. You're going to feel hungover every day of your life, and you're going to want to kill yourself. And she's like, no, it'll be great, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, we were in a boardroom and they offered us a show. And then you and I went in the bathroom to talk about it. And you're like, it's going to be horrible. I'm like, but they just offered us a show. It was a little hard for me I couldn't really hear you. I was so excited in that bathroom when you're like, okay, I warned you though. And then we had no life.
Oh, it was, because when you get up at 3 or 4 in the morning and you don't wake up like ever, and then you have this foggy headache, it doesn't matter. But anyway, the founders of the radio station, it was called Greenstone Media, and a woman named Edie Hilliard, who was magic. What a pro, and just really took us under her wing and really wanted to see women's voices succeed on radio. But the backers, some of them included Gloria Steinem and Jane Fonda. And we had lunch with Gloria Steinem and Jane Fonda. Do you remember that?
Yes. Yes.
At a round table, like 8 of us. And you had the great idea. It was just Gloria. It wasn't Jane. It was just Gloria, right?
Right.
You had
Jane, we had them separately on the show.
But you played your game with Gloria. We played this game. It was Cory's idea, and it was hysterical. What is the name of it? Kill, shoot, marry, love. What is it?
It's kill, fuck, marry.
And you played that. We played that with Gloria Steinem, but she was such a great sport.
Oh, she loved it. First of all, people like that like to be treated, normally. They want to have fun. Girls just want to have fun.
But I was out of town and you guys got invited to her house. What was that like?
Did we get invited to her house?
Yes.
Oh. I think we got invited to Jane's apartment.
Oh, I thought it was Gloria's apartment. It doesn't matter. It's all cool that we're even talking.
No, you're right. We went to her townhouse. It was very nice. It was, it was fair. There was a lot of nods to the 70s.
That's how I'm picturing it. That's what I was picturing. I wasn't picturing marble and glass. Yeah. Hey, we got a shout out. Love Chunks says hi to Sweet Cheeks and Mama Cory. That's your son.
Oh my God, that's great.
I haven't seen him in too long. All right, so you have another game you wanted to play.
Yes, I think that because you and I don't have any filter, we don't hold back. So there's got to be a panel in some of these hospitals that decides who gets the ventilator. I mean, they don't have enough. And I was thinking, what if they made you and I the panel and we had to decide who gets the ventilator? And
this is my game. This is her game, and I'm playing along.
Yes.
Sometimes you have to find the dark side and flip it. So that's what we're doing.
Right. So, someone just said, how about Sarah Palin? Does she get a ventilator? You know what? That's a tricky one. I would say Sarah Palin gets a ventilator only because I had no idea how good we had it with Sarah.
Well, I do it because she has a special needs son, and I like.
Okay, all right. But you know who? I'll give you one. The guy that composed the 1-800 Cars for Kids commercial. Do you think he gets a ventilator? I assume it's a man. No woman would do that to anybody.
Yeah, I'll give him one. But what about the My Pillow guy?
Well, I think if we didn't give them, I think we'd probably get, we'd get tarred and feathered if we didn't give him one.
Well, I think Trump can give him mouth to mouth. I think that's the compromise.
All right. Okay. What about Roy Moore? Roy Moore gets a ventilator?
You know what it is? I'm too bleeding heart. Like, I don't want to kill anybody.
No, but you have to understand. Okay, so let's right? Bob Johnson just said no ventilator. No, yes. All right, Maureen. Let's say that the people we're choosing between. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do. Okay, so Michael Cohen, who just got out of prison.
He gets a ventilator. I want to hear what he has to say.
Me too. Okay, but let's say Michael Cohen or Roy Moore. You have to pick between the two.
Michael Cohen. Between the two. I like this between the two thing. It gives me direction.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
So, so Harvey Weinstein or that one, the Roger with the glasses.
Roger with the glasses.
The one that Trump is his friend, and he just got.
Oh, the crazy guy.
Roger Stone.
Yeah.
Roger Stone versus Harvey Weinstein. Who gets a ventilator?
Well, I know who I want, but I'll tell you after you tell me who you want.
I think I give Harvey Weinstein a ventilator.
Of course, because he must have connections. right?
Yeah.
Just because he's in jail, he has.
You know, but Maureen, he needs to make a call or send the email before I give it to him.
Exactly. And then you got to bring me into it. And so you got two people. You got to, all right, keep going. I like this.
Okay, let's do, I don't want to be all men. Let's do some women.
Oh, all right.
Okay, is there a woman that we both can't stand that we're angry at?
Oh, any Republican woman who's
who's the one that ruined things in is it Claire McCall? The one in Maine.
Oh, Susan Collins.
Susan Collins Susan Collins or anybody after, let's say,
Not Ivanka?
a Kardashian?
This is
Susan
rough.
Collins or a Kardashian?
Which Kardashian? Oh my God, we have a list here.
Okay, good.
We'll get to that one in a moment.
Yeah, we'll do that next.
Susan Collins or the Kardashian. You know what? I'm going to give it to a Kardashian because as vapid as they are, I think they have good hearts, as limited as they are, where Susan had an opportunity to really do good and she chose not to.
Right.
She's
right.
smart enough to do good and she didn't.
Okay, we just had somebody recently said Roseanne Barr or
Eileen Wuornos. She's a mass killer. She killed.
Well, we have to. Roseanne did so much for women in comedy. I have to give it to Roseanne.
Oh yeah, totally, Roseanne. Okay, instead of saying we're not going to give them, they're going to be on a waiting list, hoping more come in. Then I feel guilty.
Okay.
Because
immediate ventilator distribution goes to. That's the name of this game.
Melania or Ivanka.
Oh, that's not fair.
What is it? That was
what's hard.
Wants to know.
I know. What do you think? Where's your head on that one?
I will give it to Ivanka. Because she does, believe it or not, even though they were made in China, she did make some nice affordable dresses that were in Lord & Taylor before it went defunct. Because I would look, ooh, this is nice, and I go, oh, it's from her. Never mind.
So I see. So you're basing it on, did they contribute even a modicum of something to the world? Anything tangible they get?
Yeah. A lot of kids too, the kid thing.
Yeah, that's true.
That gets me all the time.
All right, what else are people saying? Anybody else pitching? Anybody else?
What do we got? A lot of people saying the same one. What do we got, you guys?
Stephen Miller I like this one. Stephen Miller or Jared Kushner.
Oh, Jared Kushner.
Yeah, just because,
Stephen Miller is horrible. Pardon me, allergies. I mean, Jared isn't great either, but we need him to do everything in the world. I mean,
right. And he's saving the Middle East, so
He's saving the Middle East. He's taking care of healthcare, the coronavirus. Stephen Miller is pure evil. Like,
it's true.
His Jewish family came out and said, his uncle said, "I can't believe this is my my relative. We're humiliated." Somebody said, "How about this one, Cor? Carrot Top or Gallagher?"
Oh God.
We're playing waiting for a ventilator. Who has to wait longer than the other? That's all. We want everybody to live. Carrot Top or Gallagher? I know who I'd pick.
I guess I'd pick Carrot Top.
To get the ventilator right away.
Yeah. Gallagher's on the waiting list.
I interviewed him several times years ago when I was at Bloomberg, and he would bring in his trunk of props. But live, sitting next to him, it was so funny. He made me laugh so much. I'm just saying, he really did. It translates better sitting next to him. That's all I'm saying, Cor. We're playing who has to wait longer for a ventilater. Bob Johnson wants Carrot Top to wait longer. I'm not sure why that is.
Well, maybe he enjoyed Gallagher. I just find that there was a little bit more intelligence to me with Carrot Top's humor than just hitting a watermelon.
I want to just get some fruit and smash it and be a success. Either that or get a dog and sit on a corner with a can. Because
Can we go back to Jared Kushner for a second? Because I read something very disturbing. So Jared Kushner's brother, there's more of them. He's the CEO of one of the companies that's developing tests for our country. Isn't that such a nice symbiotic thing, don't you think?
I think it's wonderful, Cory. You have to take
Yeah.
care of each other, but as long as you're not a Democrat letting your, your family members do anything. Um, Jared Kushner, there's something I was going to tell you about him. So when we were having, the trade wars with China, and the orange one is saying, we have to come back and have things made in America. I'm a huge supporter of that. I would buy 3 dresses a year made in America and paid more. I would pay more to have quality and keep jobs here, totally. But Ivanka is over in China making her clothes and getting 11 patents. The hell is that? That's insane.
Oh, somebody just had Cyndi Lauper or Madonna.
Oh, I know who I'd give that to. First, who
Very hard.
go ahead, I'll let you pick first.
Well,
Sorry.
because I live on the Upper West Side. Oh no, but they both have apartments on the Upper West Side. Cyndi Lauper lives 10 blocks north of me, and Madonna, when she's in New York, lives about 10 blocks south of me. God.
In the middle. I know who I'd pick.
I guess I'd give it to Cyndi Lauper.
Of course you would. Of course you would. You have to. All right. Now I can't just gotta tell you this. I'm not like, being fancy pants, but I interviewed Cyndi Lauper again when I was at Bloomberg, when I made money and I got to do nice things. Remember those days? Anyway, a long time ago. So she was so down to earth, Cory, so real. And she talked very honestly about growing up in an alcoholic family and just wanting to get out and create. I just love when people are real. And I just thought she was so real. Then I was in Central Park running one day and she's like, excuse me, do you know, I'm just looking she was just looking for something. And I was just like, Cyndi Lauper's asking me like a question, but I couldn't act like I knew her because I wanted to give her anonymity. I know, that's crazy. I wanted to go, right. I love her.
Yes.
We have some good questions. Lindsey Graham or Devin Nunes, who gets the ventilator first?
I think we shut off the electricity and none of the ventilators work that day.
I like it. A little electrical glitch.
Yes. Yes.
I want to, Amy Stiller. Hey, shout out to Amy Stiller,
Hi, Amy.
Hey, Amy. I also have to give a shout out. People are asking me, I'm doing it on Facebook Live here on the timeline, but eventually we're going to merge it to the group. So it's a little more, insular so that people know they're coming to the group to see the show. It's not just, catching it as catch can. So would love for you guys to join my group Hanging with Langan. And also some of you have been asking me and some of you have been supporting the show because this is my job now. And I've spent a month learning stupid smelly Zoom and Facebook Live, and you guys have watched me being tortured. So you can go to my home website at Mo Langan, and there's ways to support PayPal, molangan@gmail.com, and Venmo @Mo Langan. I mean, if you're so inclined, don't worry about me. Just take care of yourself. That's all right. So that's what we're doing. Go ahead.
Someone just popped up, Janine Pirro or Ann Coulter.
Oh, this is rough.
I'm gonna give it to Ann Coulter.
The
ventilator. Janine will get one, but I just don't know when.
I find her, but she over pops her piece, and that drives me crazy. And she over articulates. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I give it to Ann Coulter because I suspect Ann Coulter isn't as horrible. I think it's an act. I think that occasionally she has some real. I think she has some really smart things to say. Whereas Janine Pirro just drank the Kool-Aid, and I don't think. My heart goes to Ann Coulter.
Heart. I would give maybe a kidney stone to Ann.
Okay. All right. Or a hangnail.
I think I heard rumors. I don't know if it's true that she screwed Bill Maher. That they had a thing.
Oh, no doubt. I completely agree.
Really?
I think that's true. Yeah.
All right. People are funny. David Hasselhoff or Snooki?
Oh God. Well, we have to give it to Snooki because she has 2 little ones, right?
And she is from Jersey.
Okay.
She gives Jersey a bad name though. I grew up in Lake Hiawatha where there's no lake. Somebody asked me, this was funny. My friend Chip Ambrosio asked me, whose hand would I rather shake? Harvey Weinstein or Louis C.K.?
No, that's like comparing, I don't know, burnt bacon to
Not
poison.
Oh,
I don't particularly like burnt bacon right now, but I would rather have that than poison. Listen, I'm a firm believer in the paying attention to what the law is. And it's my understanding that Louis C.K. did not break the law.
well, listen, I would shake his hand before he even finished because over over. Well, somebody asked me Trump too, Trump or Louis C.K. I mean, you don't even have to.
Right. Well, I think that I have shaken Trump's hand.
Wow.
So
Oh, you were on The Apprentice. Look, can we talk about that?
we can, but I had no interaction with Donald Trump there. He just trashed me on the, on the debrief episode where they decided why this team lost and whatever.
Well, tell him you weren't on a team. You were you on a team or you?
One of the teams was doing a golf outing and they hired me as a comedian. And I apparently made the team lose.
Yeah, but they set it up like they put sound in that made it sound like crickets. They made it look that way, and you were so I don't know, I think you're really brave to do that. But I love that if he trashed you, that's like awesome. Congratulations.
He did. Well, he said that, he said you hired a very crass comedian who dropped the F-bomb. Now, you know me as a comedian. Am I very crass and do I use the F word a lot?
No,
very rarely. No.
Not at all.
But I have one golf joke in my entire repertoire. One. And unfortunately, that joke has the F-bomb.
You want to tell?
Sure. But you try to imagine, I only performed to 10 guys that were playing golf. And so it wasn't exactly an ideal setup. I just said, you guys play golf, right? And they went, yeah. I'm like, I don't get it. $250,000 a year to stand in the woods and say, fuck. It's a great joke. It's a golf joke.
Yeah, and you're doing a golf outing.
Yes. I wasn't doing a Sunday school, fundraiser for the nuns. I mean, it's fine. But the best part of that story, though, is that the next day, you and I were doing the show that day. Joy Behar had me go on an audio on the show, on The View, and explain what happened because she said, I know her. She's not a dirty comic. She's not a blue comic.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Having said that, though,
yes, darling, I'm just reading.
I have to come clean on something. I have been on 5 reality shows.
You have? Oh, you were. Go ahead.
Yeah, I do not learn lessons, is what I've decided, because I seem to need to learn it over and over. So I've been on Last Comic Standing 3. I've been on America's Got Talent. I've been on The Apprentice. And I've been on Next Food Network Star.
Well,
so
you're a chef. You're a trained chef.
Well, my career before this, yes. So my point is, I for some reason keep thinking that I can go back to the well, because the very first experience I had on reality was great.
Because it was your first season of Last Comic Standing, and you were
right, and I made it to the finale. So I thought I would always have that kind of luck. I'm like a very bad gambler.
See, I don't see it that way. I see it as you. Honestly, I see it. I'm not kissing your ass because I wouldn't, because I have broadcast quality equipment and I can go elsewhere.
That's true. I wonder where I'd be now if I had my own broadcast quality.
It's true. It's very true. You got to learn these lessons on your own. I think it's really brave to keep going back. I think it's really brave because you don't let it stop you from the next opportunity and creating another opportunity. I mean, what else can we do? It's true.
Well, you have to be in it to win it.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that to happen for me. But I'm curious, when you did Last Comic Standing, like what do the producers tell you behind the scenes? Do they want conflict? Do they really want you to win? Is it really, like, what went on behind the scenes?
Well, I think most people who watch reality TV at this point have figured out that reality shows are made up of interviews. So the narrative of the show is culled from these meticulously edited interviews where they grab the soundbite that they want, and that's how they script it. And, you know, the unfortunate thing is they are creating television content without any writers. And so we're writing the show. So basically producers are trying to get the story that they want. So in essence, yes, you know, they'll say, why don't you guys, you know, why don't you guys say what you really mean about this particular contestant? And, you know, and they, yes, they will try to get you to say something that,
I know you would.
yeah. I mean, listen, I think a show like Real Housewives of New York, they're hyper aware that they're on a reality show. They say, you know, we're on a reality show. I'm trying to sell this book, or I'm trying to sell this pan.
Right.
And that's refreshing to me, because they're not pretending they're not. Whereas the shows that I've been on, we had to pretend that we weren't.
That you were not on the show.
Right. That it was like I really was in a contest. I mean, think about it. It's ludicrous for me to be competing with another comedian for who's funny.
It's absurd.
Ludicrous. I mean, if I perform for a PTA of all moms of kids that go to high school, I'm going to win. Right? Okay. If somebody else performs, you know, for a whole bunch of college students, and they're going to do material that's for them, they're going to win. Comedy is subjective. You like what you most relate to.
Yeah. Well, yeah, of course. So when you were on Last Comic Standing, did they have any people helping you write? I know you're a prolific writer, but I'm just saying, were there any other writers helping you? Because it's so much writing and so much material in such a short time.
You know, I think that occasionally they'd come in and they'd say, we were just listening to that conversation. That was really funny. Why don't you do it again? But, and make sure you say that again. And so that they would try to redo, you know, get better camera angles and that kind of thing.
Yes.
They didn't have to on Last Comic Standing. I mean, we basically spent the whole season torturing one contestant who won.
Oh, that was Dat Van. Who won that?
Yeah.
Dat Van.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of, you know, I have a lot of regret for how much I embarrassed that kid, but you know, at the same time, he won.
It's a shame. It ain't right. Well, Trump wins. These people win who don't deserve to win. Now, how long did you have to walk around knowing who won and not be able to say anything?
Oh, no. I didn't. It was a live show when it was happening live. When you found out, I found out. What I did have to keep secret for a long time was that I was going to the finale. That was 3 months. And I think I saw you, because we've been friends for a long time. And you'd say, well, what's going on? Can you tell me? And I'd say, I can't tell you, but you can ask me how I feel. And I'd say, pretty good.
Oh, that's so funny. I'm looking, yeah, comedy, my friend Lonnie said comedy is not a competition. And she produced for Bert Kreischer, you know, the travel show with Bert Kreischer, the Conqueror.
Yes, my son, tell her that my son is a huge fan.
Well, she can hear you. She's watching.
Yeah. All right, listen, my son is a huge fan. I have a lot of resentment about it, because I have been a chef my whole life, and he, who's not even a trained chef, has this very successful cooking show. So there's a little bit of jealousy there.
Does he really? I don't even know this now. Lonnie, do you know?
Oh, his cooking show is huge. And I tune in, and then I get really resentful. But listen, he did it. I did not produce my own cooking show. He did. So.
Well, I produced Mo Goes with Lonnie, and it sadly didn't go anywhere. My agent said, she was in the room with us, and she can attest to this. My agent at the time, who's not my agent anymore, this fat, like 75-year-old guy, says, I love it. This is really great. And had been a bit of interest in it. And he goes, yeah, but what are we going to tell the networks about your age? And I'm like, well, you could tell them I'm the most haggard 18-year-old or the hottest 90-year-old you've ever met. I mean, you know, or I could sue you, but would I still have to give you a commission? I mean, it's insane. But I think the tide's turning with that. I want to know what you think about, you created a show. Cory, you create a lot of stuff. I mean, you create opportunity, and you created something called the JAPS show, the Jewish American Princesses of Comedy, which I was in, and it traveled, and it was an homage to the women comics who came really back in the day, from Belle Barth to Joan Rivers. And I was in it even though I'm not Jewish. You were like, well, you're Jewish, and they need to see a shiksa up there. So that was fun for me. And Adrian Tolsch and a lot of great people. So let's tie that into the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. What do you think of that show? Because it's based, I understand, on Jean Carroll, who, if people don't know Jean Carroll, what a class act. And I heard that Rachel Braza-Hazanazanin, who plays Mrs. Maisel, studied Jean Carroll, who was the first
Right.
to get a sitcom. Really classy, not fat, not vulgar.
And she also didn't do that much self-deprecating. She came in her real face. She didn't do any, like, you know, she didn't wear a silly costume. She was elegant, and she embodied being an attractive woman, and still, you know, having that be okay for funny. My understanding is that Palladino, who's the creator of the show, based it on a hybrid of Jean Carroll and Joan Rivers, because Jean Carroll never ever spoke with that kind of blue language.
I have to tell you, I'm just looking at Jean retired from comedy to be a housewife, says Dana. I didn't know that.
She did. I interviewed her in her house in Hartsdale, New York.
Oh my God.
And
you did?
Yes.
Okay. Jean Carroll, please look Jean Carroll up, not right now, after the show. She's so inspirational, and what a beautiful woman who got her first sitcom, I think, as a comic. All right, you went to her house. Where? Tell me everything.
Her house was in Hartsdale, and part of the reason why she didn't really want to be on camera is because her eyesight was really bad. She was going blind, and she was very vain still. She got really dressed up for me. She looked incredibly beautiful when we met, and I was asking her, you know, how did you juggle? Because she had a daughter at the, you know, when her career was still going, and I said, you know, how did your daughter handle? Because my daughter, you know, is very resentful that this is my profession. And Jean Carroll said, well, you know, one day I got home early, and I got up early, because, you know, she was a night person. I got up early, and I put chocolate chip cookies in the oven, and I had my hair in curlers, and I was sitting there waiting for her to come home. And she came home, and I didn't leave the house for 3 days, and she was like, just go back to work already, something like that.
She's like 100 years old now. Hold on, grab it.
No, she died.
Oh, she did die. Okay.
Yeah, she died. No, I went to the memorial. The memorial was at the Friars Club.
Wow. And I got to tell you, oh, I love her.
And you know who was at the memorial? Oh my God, the woman who did the woman from Laugh-In, and she's on the show with Jane Fonda.
Oh, Lily Tomlin.
Lily Tomlin was a huge fan of Jean Carroll, and Lily Tomlin was inspired to do comedy because of Jean Carroll. So Lily Tomlin was there. Joy Behar was there, who's also a huge fan. It was really exciting.
You know, I don't sit still and watch a lot of television, but, you know, every night I've been binge watching Grace and Frankie. And I will tell you, here's my little recap. I think Jane overacts, God love her. Gorgeous though to watch. I cannot stand how they put Sam Waterston on that show. I love you. I mean, like, stop. It's so uncomfortable. And his relationship with Martin Sheen, who I've always loved, it just looks like a parody of a gay couple. It doesn't feel, it's so awkward when I watch it. However, why do I keep watching it? Because I can't stop looking at Lily Tomlin. She's absolutely riveting. I love watching her. And her, you know, years ago when she was on Laugh-In and she did One Ringy Dingy, I understand, I guess it was the 70s or 80s, AT&T wanted to buy the rights to that. And she said she wouldn't because it would lose its artistic integrity. I love her.
That's
Carol
good.
Burnett, Carol, if you're listening, Carol, if you're watching, Carol Burnett, I love you, and I've always loved you, and I've gone to see you, and I don't know why you haven't come on my show when I have my radio show. I just want you to know I forgive you, and you can just go to Maureen Langan and .com, and I'll respond right away.
Did you meet her?
No, I've only seen her when I worked at Bloomberg. She walked by, and I'm like, you know how you were too, like, I was younger and I was too uncomfortable. I just wanted to grab her and just sob on her shoulder and ask her to hold me.
One of my highlights of my life was I made her laugh.
You did where?
Well, I was doing The View, and she was the other guest. She was the legit guest. I was the comedian, And I knocked on her door and she said, come in. I said, listen, I don't want you to feel uncomfortable. A lot of people are intimidated by me, but you can, you can ask me anything. And, I just want you to feel comfortable. And she cracked up. She
And
said,
where was this?
this was at the View with, yeah. I'm so glad that I made her laugh. And after my bravado was over, then I went complete, girl crush after that. I said, I can't tell you how much I worked up to come in here and do that. Now I feel like I'm going to cry. And she gave me a hug.
I don't know why she's not calling.
It was pretty nice. It was, yeah, she's everything you think. She's just very sweet, very, very real.
I know she's written a number of memoirs, a number of memoirs, but one of hers, I forget, it was one of her first ones, and you have to read it if you haven't read it, those of you listening. She grew up with such a horrible childhood. Both parents were alcoholics. She was raised by her grandmother. They were in Section 8 housing for the day. They'd go to the movies and just stay there. It's so touching. And then somebody gave her, the person has remained unnamed, the money to go to school in New York City, as long as she wouldn't reveal who it was until he passed, but she still hasn't revealed the name. And I think, of course, the person has passed because he was older than she at the time.
Right.
I don't know who that was so badly. But her story and losing her daughter and I just think her perseverance. And she put on a show in New York City to showcase herself. We've done this as comics. You produce your own shows, and she did it. And that was the beginning for her. And I miss that kind of variety show where you bring people on with their talents and let them be, and watching Harvey Korman and Tim Conway just break the fourth wall and crack up. I just love that.
It was perfect. That show was perfect.
It was perfect. We're getting a lot. Hi, Cory. Watching you, Cory. You look great. Not as great as Mo. I added that part at the end. They said you look beautiful.
Is it anybody I know?
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm just going through it. My friend La Chica is watching. Ken Murray. Hi, Ken. Robin Gill, the one who wrote the hot dog show. Hi, Robin. Robin Gellenbein, the hot dog show.
Gellenbein.
I can't say it, but she's really talented. Maria.
Yes. We live in the same neighborhood. I see her time to time.
Dana Friedman. She's been very helpful to me.
I heard. I'm so glad.
Yeah, she's been
so glad. Dana's very good for women comics, and she's a very funny comedian herself.
Peggy Boyce, who did Ladies of Laughter.
Yes.
Hi. Pat Candaris. Pat.
Peggy, I still want to fix you up with somebody, but that's it. I won't say anymore.
All right. And Pat Candaris, she's just such a gem.
Oh, the best.
One of the funniest. Her kids want all the seasons in their wine. She makes fun of her yuppie kids because she's such a broad. And these kids, they want all the seasons. They want this. I love her. All right, you guys have been awesome. Cor, I want to talk to you a few more minutes. I know that you have a lot going on at the Berkshires, taking your walks with nobody around. Well, your son's there, and I love her son and her husband, Ken.
Let me tell you something. I have two millennials. Because my husband's niece and her roommate came up, and they've been having us play card games that I've never heard of. We played Presidents. Have you heard of this one?
Presidents?
Presidents, yeah. So you're either the president or you're the vice asshole. It's the funnest game. So I've got them, and my son Rufus, who's 15, is so grateful because he has very, very old parents. We had our kids. I had my son when I was 42. So it's a lot of people. It's not without excitement up here.
Well, that's good. That's a lot of fun. But I just want to wrap this up because we're all out of work. I got to give a shameless plug for myself first, and I want to talk to you about your work. You guys, people have been asking me how you can support the show. I want you to know I'm doing Hanging with Langan Monday through Friday now. It's going to be 3 p.m. It is 3 p.m. New York Eastern time, and it's noon here in California, where I've escaped to right now to be with my Sicilian lover. What I want to say, though, is you can support it and go to my website, molangan.com. And if you want to support it, PayPal, molangan@gmail, or Venmo @molangan. Or if you want to buy one of my t-shirts, this is how I'm making a living right now. So whatever, you have to you got to put the humility on the back burner. Don't make me hate you. These are my t-shirts on my website, and they run large, so that's good to know. And I have all sizes. Yeah, so I want to let people know that Wednesday on my show, I have Colleen Jenkins. She is the great-great-granddaughter of Elizabeth Cady Stanton, the original suffragette, with Susan B. Anthony. They're unveiling in Central Park in August. And Cory, if you're in town, I hope you'll go with me. They're unveiling the first real women statue ever in Central Park. The only women in Central Park, there's 8 million male statues, is Mother Goose, Juliet from Romeo and some nymph. So this is
Maureen, before you go any further though, can you ask them what they feel about Donald Trump calling the governor of Michigan
halfwit?
That woman. It's so, to me, it is the most offensive thing as a woman that he did that anyway.
I know, and I find sometimes, and you know, you guys, I do judge this. I find women who support him are like women who are against the vote. I just feel that they really are voting against their best interests, and that really breaks my heart. But they're unveiling this statue of Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton in August in Central Park. And I donated, you know, I have 10 nieces and nephews, so I donated $25 in each of their names. You know, I'm not money bags. So they can always say they have a little piece of it, a little chip of it. So, you know, and I donated more. So that's Wednesday. Tomorrow I have this crazy zany circus performer comic from the UK. I have Hell Gigs with comics on Friday. And Thursday, because I did this Johannesburg Comedy Festival, I'm bringing back the group of guys because I was the only woman. So it's going to be fun. And I'm going to expand it beyond just comics as much as I love my comedy family, but they'll be on regularly too. Now you've lost all your work, I'm sure, right? I mean, you were on the highest end cruises going. Let's talk about that for a moment before I let you go.
No, I was actually in Antarctica when the whole thing blew up, that we were going to have to, you know, the whole world was going to change. And so we got an announcement from the captain saying, ladies and gentlemen, I regret to inform you, but the cruise is ending tomorrow. And it was 2 days early. So he said, you're going to be getting off in Uruguay, which is Montevideo. And we got to Uruguay because Uruguay was, at this time, there were 0 cases in Uruguay.
Sure.
And Uruguay overnight got 4 cases. Somebody flew in someone flew in from Spain. And so Uruguay wouldn't let us dock. And then we went to Buenos Aires. Buenos Aires wouldn't let us dock. And then we went back out for another 24 hours. And I believe somebody with some authority called Buenos Aires and said, do you understand this ship has been for 12 weeks in Antarctica, the only place on Earth with 0 cases of corona.
That's where you had been.
And so they let us fly out of Buenos Aires, and it was 24 hours before the last flight out of. We basically were among the last 3 flights out of Buenos Aires back to the United States.
This is like the Jews trying to get into America back in the day.
It was, and you know, our fear was, because we would have stayed on the ship, because I could have stayed and kept performing and entertaining people. The problem was we had this 15-year-old that would have been alone, and we had to get back.
You had your son.
Yeah, because my husband and I let me tell for the audience, my husband came with me because it was an Antarctica trip, and so we weren't going to miss that opportunity.
Was it fantastic?
It was fantastic. It's something everybody should do if you can. So yes, so all of my jobs canceled.
It's daunting because we get booked out 6 months to a year in advance, and
Yeah.
you know, somebody just wrote. I have to ask this. I asked why women would vote for Trump, and a gal I love, and I will always love her, said women who support him have self-esteem. Really? Right. I love her. I would love to hear why she says that. I will always love her no matter what she says, but I want to change her mind. All right. I'm not outing her because, well, people can see. So then what do we do next? What's happening? What are we going to do? Just wait this out and see?
I actually have been putting together some virtual happy hours where we that people can do as fundraisers, so they can sort of book me as entertainment for a virtual happy hour, because people are doing these virtual happy hours all over. Have you done them yet?
No.
We should do one with your Sicilian lover and me and Ken. Let's
All
do
right.
it. It's really fun. Yeah, everybody, like, for example, I'll say, I'm going to make margaritas. You make margaritas, and we'll drink them together, but on Zoom. And it's really fun. But
I wanna
that's
talk
what I'm
about
doing.
the gal I love so much. We were together. We were doing some graduate writing work in the middle of Mexico, San Miguel Allende. She said, "No, I meant to say minus the self-esteem." Because I love her so much. Thank you, La Chica. I mean, I just love her.
Well, no, I will say this. I think women who are for Trump probably think they have self-esteem, but I think that they think their dad's going to come back.
Hysterical. You know what it is too? Listen, people can vote for whomever they want, but I think once he revealed himself to say such hurtful things, it would be like if your sister or your daughter were dating a guy who came into your home and spoke that way, you wouldn't say, yeah, but he has a good bank account, so, put up with it. It's abusive. It's just horrible.
Right. But there isn't even that, Momo. It's not even like, because sometimes people would say, but he's so handsome. No, he's not so handsome. He's so funny. No,
the sex
he's
is
so
great.
Smart. No. You know what I mean? My first husband was an abusive guy, but he was really smart and he was really clever. I mean, people could say, all right, I see what you saw in him. He wasn't just a horrific guy.
Well, you know what people maybe know or don't know? Of course, they call it chain immigration, but it's really family reunification. And his wife got to bring in her family through chain migration. And she got into America on something called an Einstein visa, which is saved for the creme de la creme that we need here in America. I mean, I guess we need more lesbian scenes in pornography. I imagine we've run out of those. But she's not, an Einstein visa is like for a rocket scientist. We need that expertise in this country. Anyway, I don't want to get too political. Part of the show is an escape from that, but I can't help but see, because the Civil War crap that he's trying to ignite with liberate these states that are his swing states, and people going out, we have a right, and you have a right, but you know what my friends who are first responders say? I have to take care of you if you get sick. So your right is going to kill me. I don't want that. So, when it was the anti-vaxxers, they were like those crazy leftist liberals, they won't vaccinate their kids. And when you don't vaccinate your kid and you bring that into school, the poor kids in the school who can't have vaccines and their immunities are compromised, they're the ones who are going to get sick. But when it's this virus thing, anyway, I don't know. I just want everybody to be safe. We're both live in New York City, and it is an insane time. But I want you to talk, I want you to plug more about this virtual happy hour and how it's going to work. Like when people hire you, what do you do? What does that look like? Do you sit with them, or do you stand in the middle of the room and tell them jokes virtually?
Well, it's a little bit more relaxed because, for the most part, these virtual happy hours are, 20 people or less. So everybody gets a little bit of my attention. And I do some jokes. I try to bring some stuff into it that's not just stand up, because otherwise, this medium only really can sustain so long people's attention. So it's a combination of some writing, some reading, some funny things, interaction. Occasionally I bring my friend who does funny songs, and it's that's what I'm hoping that's going to be the new medium.
Well, two things. One is I would love to be a fly on the wall on one of them and watch what you're doing. And
Okay.
Secondly, how do people reach you so they can have a virtual happy hour with Cory Kahaney?
Yeah. Well, they're called The Show Must Go On. And it's just my name, Cory Kahaney @gmail.com. And by the way, don't worry about spelling my name. Any version of Cory Kahaney is me.
It's Cory. Well, your name is right there, Kahaney.
Right, but if you Google Cory Kahaney, it'll come up.
And it's all over my Facebook page too, her name and
Thanks.
everything. You know what? We were supposed to hang for 20 minutes. I have no idea how long you hung out with me, but
An hour.
You did. It was fun.
But everybody who's listening, you need to support this Hanging with Langan. Maureen Langan is the person who should be having a Monday through Friday show, and not for free. But if she's going to do it for free, at least tune in. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
I love you, honey, honey. Mwah. All the best to you guys over there in the Berkshires. And thank you guys for checking in with us today. I have shows Monday through Friday, 3 o'clock. Eastern time, noon Pacific. Wednesday, I have the great-great-granddaughter of Elizabeth Cady Stanton, Colleen Jenkins. Tomorrow, I have my crazy, wild, hysterical, big hit in the UK, Martin Moore. He's from Northern Ireland, joining us. Great shows all week. I hope you'll join me. And next week, Tom Cotter agreed to join me, and Jim David. And I got to reach out to Carrie Louise. I want to see how she's handling these mommy minutes. Great comics. So, and I'll try to bring in some more, comics and authors and, not really too much politics. We're going to stay away from that. But it'll run the gamut. So you guys, I'm going to post this. It's live on Facebook. I will post it to YouTube, and I will repost it on Facebook. And the show must go on. That's Cory's virtual happy hour. Hang out with her, because I've had wine with this woman many a time. When we did our morning radio show, it would be over at 9. And just tell them what we do before we really say goodbye. Remember, we leave at 9 and go find wine at the Greek diner?
Yeah, there was not that many places that served wine at 9:15 in the morning, but we found them.
Well, you have to be tenacious. Mwah! All right, you guys, I'll see you soon. MaureenLangan.com. Please support the show. PayPal, molangan@gmail, and Venmo @molangan. And buy a t-shirt. They are not intersexed. What are they? They're
Unisex.
Unisex. They're not intersex. They're unisex, but they're unisex for people who might be intersex. It's up to you. And that's on my website too. Don't make me hate you. All right, Cor. All right, you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Same bat time.
You all get a ventilator. You all get a ventilator.
Everybody get a ventilator. All right, you guys. Take care. Bye. Mwah.